Why are there cookies here? Welcome to production log number 7. It's already 7. Wow. Okay, so we're kind of in the middle of deep production right now. This is the moment where we're really entering the phase where we're just sitting down and we're making a film without all the big picture decisions. Now we have to get really focused and just do the work. 2 minutes of the film have been animated, and soon we're gonna take a little bit of a step back and we're gonna finesse the moments that we think fell short in the animations that we did. From that point on, we're just gonna fully plow ahead and make this film. Let's check out what everyone has been doing.
We are working on the wrapping up the second sequence, that is the down path on the forest until they reach the pillar. So we are I'm working on the shot with the dog when he's reacting to spring and running to the pillar. So yeah, there's one shot is finished, or is kind of finished already. It's the second one with you have like a more aerial view. And I'm working currently in this reaction shot of him dropping the branch to going to the pillar to grab the other bigger branch. So it's still a work in progress. It still needs some overlaps and a little bit more of love, but it's almost there.
So FFmpeg doesn't exist anymore for some reason. Also, I can't do git update. I don't know why. It's there. If you.
It's there.
Yeah. Here we go.
You have a
Yeah, yay! Thank you. I'm working on going back to some of the shots from sequence 1 and maybe sequence 2. So I finished all my shots in sequence 2 for the most part. So now it's all about like kind of going back and looking at some of the shots that don't look as good as the stuff we've been doing lately, and maybe updating some of them. Did like another pass of reference for this shot, just to try to figure out if I can kind of push it and do some more facial expressions and make it more crazy. And yeah, it totally worked. Very happy with it. So in this shot, she is kind of grabbing the staff after the kind of recoil from the pillar, and I wanted it to feel a little bit quicker than maybe she assumed it to begin with. And then she kind of turns around, looks up, and she does a little bit of weight shifting. It's nothing more complicated than that. The dog right now is just a statue of a dog because it kind of relies on another shot. So once that shot has been done, then I can use that as kind of a reference point for how I want to put the dog in this position here in this shot.
I picked up first of all the alpha, and I applied some modifiers. Things started working again, so we could finally like apply some stuff and get it more to a state where it can actually be animated. And now I am working on the sets. So for the entire sequence where Spring is going to the pillar in the forest, there's still a couple of close-up shots where we're seeing some trees and some rocks in the ground and everything, and it has no details, so I'm just kind of sprinkling more detail on top before moving on, very likely moving on to the next sets, which still need to be built soon.
I have many different hats on this project. Currently I'm wearing the shape key correction hat, modeling/rigging, scripting hat. And I'm trying to figure out how to make these shape keys work, because when you're editing a shape key currently, all you see is this jumbled mess going back and forth. You're actually not able to apply the rig changes to edit mode, so you're really doing this blind. So I'm trying to improve her facial features when she is smiling, because as you remembered, a while ago we had these we put out the first minute of the film on the cloud, and people were super responsive and very positive, good feedback, but there were some shots where they thought her smile looks creepy, and we agree, because there's just something that we never addressed. It's so much stuff to do that we could never really finesse every single aspect of her facial expressions and so on. So what I'm trying to do right now, at this very moment, with my rigging hat on, is getting her smile to look more appealing. And what does that mean? That means I'm trying to get that little line of compressed flesh when she's actually like this line here, trying to get that into her model, and hopefully that is going to make things less creepy. And before that, prior to that, we did some adjustments to her eyebrows, so her eyebrows don't look like they're stuck on with a piece of hot glue to her head. It's going very slowly, so piece by piece we're nailing down the little things, the really subtle little things that make this character unappealing, and we have to make her really just lovable, so people have to connect with her at the first sight. So what I did in the last couple of weeks was just trying to put all these shots in a sequence as they were getting animated, and put all the lights in, make sure that each shot reads well, and that each environment is, that the environment actually works across all these shots. Now, of course, Julian is tweaking all these things and making it look more awesome, but that's just the one thing I was doing. So this shot was animated by Pablo. Now I've added all those plants in the foreground, so we really get the sense that we're in this deep frozen forest. And we have to make sure that the dog stands out, because it's a small, cute, little, fluffy black dog in a black and dark forest. So we have to make sure he's really readable, and we can see his face, and we can see the silhouette of his body. And then like this big reveal of this mysterious looking pillar thing that Spring is walking towards. And in this shot we really have to make sure that your eye is being drawn to the pillar once you're looking at it, and that it really stands out, and it's this really ancient, mysterious place in the middle of the forest, and something is going to happen here. And there was also another shot in the sequence. So one thing that I did was make a gigantic a matte painting background that we can stick into every individual shot, and we kind of have the sense of where we are in the forest and where we're looking at. And so we have to make sure that we stay true to the geographical location. And that's just something that you notice in the back of your head, but that helps making this whole environment more coherent. This is an HDRI, well, actually EXR, but this is an HDR image, so it actually helps us add some subtle lighting to the whole scene, but more importantly, once we do exposure adjustments and grading and those kind of things, it will not fall apart. It was just a big panoramic image, 8K, that I rendered overnight, and then I adjusted it in Krita using the high dynamic range painting mode, and I just added some quick clouds and made sure that it's a bit more misty, to get the overall sense of the dread, the dark valley. And this, I actually stuck it into a couple of backgrounds, so you see it really subtly in the distance that it's we see this little ridge of the mountain here in the background as we dive into this dark forest. And then when we are going towards the pillar, we see the subtle drop off in the background, where our most dramatic point of the story will take place. And so it's just there to give you a little bit more of a connection to this environment, that you actually that it actually makes sense geographically.
Other than that, just hanging out, drinking coffee, sipping on gin and juice.
Okay, enough. Thank you. Say bye, please.
Yeah. Bye, please.
Can I say bye? Bye bye. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, wait. Bye.